Welcome back, one and all, to the Paladins Console League. I'm still Dolson. That's not Gore, though. That is Evan Rainday Rayner joining me for set number 2. We have Cyclone. We have Bustdown here. Notably, Bustdown, excuse me, they DQ set, or game number 1 in this set. So Cyclone are going to be starting off with a 1-0 lead here in this one. And I think maybe a little bit more contended than what we saw in set number 1. Of course, Stush was able to take a map off of Flashpoint.
Impressive.
But overall, Bustdown has been trending upward, I would say.
Yeah.
And might take it to Cyclone a little bit.
It should be an interesting one. Obviously, the first game DQ smells interesting to me. I mean, maybe someone came late, maybe just didn't have the right I don't know, order of doing things, and unfortunately, this one is already going to be tilted one way or the other, but I do believe that this is the closest matchup you could see here, obviously.
Agreed.
And so that's going to give maybe an interesting show, maybe not as interesting as Stush taking yet another map off of Flashpoint. I think it was like both start and end, right? That they're
it was very early on in the split,
Crazy.
and then literally the last possible day. So hats off to them. Of course, this is another number 1 team that will be going to MSI in Cyclone. So these matches, while already decided, they're already onward to the midseason tournament. It's going to just be a bit of a see how they're doing. Kind of the last official game.
It's like a checkup.
Good check-in. Good checkup.
Dr. Dave
moving into MSI. We'll take a quick look at the maps and see which direction we're going to be headed here in set number 2 of the day. Stone Keep, notably 4-0. If you blinked, you missed it.
Wow.
Stone Keep going the way
but what a
of
game
Cyclone.
that was.
What a game. It was
game.
It was honestly the best set I've ever
probably
seen.
the best game I've ever seen. And no words to describe it.
No words.
Other than that.
I think you just got to internalize it, really drink it in, and then move on to
it's
to
really
Serpent
an
Beach.
emotional experience, that game. So words can't do it justice.
Words don't do it justice. And Serpent Beach is going to be map number 2 here for us, notably Bright Marsh and Splitstone banned out on the Bustdown side of things. Victor getting banned out here, and some interesting bans. And I don't know if maybe in set number 1 could have been more specific player bans, but we saw Victor, Vivian, Drogos banned out. Honestly, 3 out of 4 of the maps that we saw there, which opened up some interesting compositions for Flashpoint.
Yeah, Victor and Vivian. I mean, Victor with that latest buff, a very big component to the cardio. He's already been strong, so probably going to firmly lie in that ban slot for today. But what's interesting is that we just have seen a little bit more of these top dogs let off the leash, some Vivian, some Talus in our earlier set as well. It's kind of hard to ban out Flashpoint. Here, maybe a little bit more respect on both sides, a little bit knowing that maybe we could get an edge in the draft. And so the Torvald's going to go away. It leaves open to Makoa, Khan, and Atlas, but Genos, he's taken first.
And Makoa, Khan, Atlas is what Flashpoint brought to the table twice. And they won 2 games very convincingly. So Cyclone could have that in their wheelhouse maybe. And then, again, notably, we sort of talked about how, and actually Tyra coming out first could open the door for a triple front line here for them. But sort of talked about how maybe teams that are guaranteed going to MSI aren't necessarily going to bring out every little strategy that they have here, maybe trying to shield something. Notably, I think the quad DPS was just a little bit of cheese, seeing if they could make it work. Good answer back, of course, there from Stush. Genos Barrack, though, very good stack there for Bustdown.
Yes, very strong. I mean, I think to start out with the Barrack buff as well, kind of taking his place and cementing it in the top stabilization tank in the game, in my opinion. I think those aggro tanks still, Khan and Atlas, run the show, but Bustdown in a good spot. They've got both, and they've got damage amp. Right now, Cyclone will probably have to settle with an Inara if they want to match that up, or they can see, oh, there's the Inara. I won't have to go into my second option there. I was going to say the Ashe could prevent a little bit more of the kind of sitting back and put some pressure on the Genos, but they're going to go with that.
And Makoa notably still on the table, and he's kind of, I would say some players in the console league enjoy playing him. Some are sort of neither here nor there on him. Still on the board here, but Barrack, Atlas, Kananar, there are 2 tanks for both teams, so unless one wants to go for triple front line, he's not going to be picked or banned here in this one. Saris, notably the Cyclone healer, and that's kind of been the difference from what we've seen, in that the Genos is still the tried and true in console league and in the other leagues, but then it's sort of been in PML and PPL. The Fury has come through a good bit, the Damba as well, but Saris is really the priority here in the console.
Well, Dave, Fury opens up so much for console, especially because Damba is so not prioritized here. It's just the way of the game. A little bit harder to maneuver on that controller, but Furia really opens things up. Not only is Solar Blessing viable, but with Cherish buffed, it's so much more simple. It's essentially Saris, but quicker with more damage. Also hit scan, which is very valuable. I'm actually surprised They don't pick that up more often.
Yeah.
Ceres, though, great healing per second.
Agreed.
To pair with the Nara, which is very, very deadly.
And Pip now for Bustdown as well. They're
Watch out.
fifth pick in this one. Watch out. It could make a difference. Game 2, as said, game number 1 went the way of Cyclone.
Oh, yeah.
Thanks to a little bit of trickery from Bustdown, but it is going to be Serpent Beach, the first map that we saw in our last set. It's going to be the first map that we see here in our second set. Cyclone will want to have their best foot forward here today, and things on a great note. Of course, they'll still be scrimming and preparing for MSI, but as far as the last game that we get to see of them for this split, this is the last taste that we'll have left in our mouth.
That last taste.
We had ice cream talks in the first set.
Oh, man.
And
well, you know, I just had ice cream last night.
Did you?
I'm gonna
Flavor?
Boy, oh boy. What can you say? A little bit of cinnamon in there, a little chocolate chip.
Is that one where you ask them for the individual toppings and they make it all together?
No. Have you ever had a Tiff Blitz, my friend?
Oh, I have not.
Might have to open your world. It's,
I think you might.
It's pretty good there. Emfrish, though, opening up Welsh Mania with the first blood. Nice stuff from him.
Yeah, and this Pip, I mean, it's such a dynamic champion in that it's on, well, in a similar way to that, like Furia can be feast or famine.
Yeah.
A good Pip player can really change a game around, and then a player that kind of fails to find that impact can really fall flat. There are some other champions that can just do a good baseline of damage. Similarly, maybe a Victor or something along those lines. More of a safe pick, but Emmerfish starting things off very well here, just to get things going in the right direction. Notably, that allowed Bustdown 57% on the point already. High ground control was still very much in contention when we left off there, but a good fight back from Cyclone. And while our next set technically decides who goes to MSI, we'll have to see how that one plays out. This one...
Are you already talking about the next set?
No, I'm talking about...
Put some respect on this set.
No, you gotta allow me.
You know what, Dave?
We can't leave on that one. Our next set decides who goes to MSI. This set, while MSI is decided,
yes,
Bustdown has been trending upward, so I want to see if
the trend keep going.
Exactly.
Okay.
So I'm saying I'm watching this one for a different reason.
I got you. There is a...
You don't let me get anything out.
Well, that's because, you know, people judge at your very first word. You know, people judge college professors by the first 10 seconds of seeing them. And to be honest, it's very interesting. They're actually very right. Actually, statistically, that in the first 10 seconds, you can kind of judge the student acceptance level or enjoyment level of the professor. Yeah.
Well, if they're not there after 15 minutes, you're legally allowed to leave.
There you go. You're legally allowed. You will not get put in jail. And Sloppydopoulos putting a few in jail himself with a crossfire. The triple kill for Sloppydopoulos.
He added a couple extra oppies in there, but he won't mind.
He
added an extra few kills. Yeah, we nailed it.
We nailed it,
We're on
Dave.
the same wavelength.
There you go.
Cyclone picks up 3. They pick up point number 1 here. Crossfire, as much value out of that one, I think, as you could have hoped for.
Yeah.
Evil Mojo's on the board here for, well, no, it's not. It's back in base for 10 more seconds as Sloppydopoulos continues his tear through this one. And similarly to how Prosper is kind of the guy, and Skeppy as well, you have to respect him, and honestly the whole lineup of Flashpoint, but I would say that Sloppydopoulos is very much like a Prosper logic in my eyes, and that he can very easily take over an entire game if he starts popping off. He's doing that up to this point here on the Tyra. Beautiful triple kill, seals things, and then takes out Emmerfish right as I'm talking about Evil Mojo. Here it comes. The Natix is going to catch that one on the jaw, and he's headed back to base. Wildcard adds a kill as well. That's a good stand on defense here for Bustdown.
And good movement. Emmerfish just barely doesn't get that high ground, but it's still good movement from the Pip in general. And you do have that caveat of on console, which sucks to say, but I think it's just more of
it's a different
it's just the lack.
Mechanic.
And it's also just the lack of how often we see it, you know. So it also makes it a lot rarer, a lot more impactful when it does appear in this scene. And you could see, you know, even in IP over this last week, had a good run with the Pip. It was a little less successful, although they ended up pulling out the win. I guess who didn't against the Renegades, unfortunately for them and for the rest of us watching.
Honestly, it's still
a little disappointing. Yeah, it's still devastating. But
because they're so close. They're improving though. I mean,
they are.
we don't have to dive too deep into the PPL talk, but they are seriously on the upswing. It seems that way. They've been improving week after week, and I think the wins will start to come in their favor.
The great point about it is that the Pip really wasn't as impactful as it had been. It's almost commonplace, you know. Every single Jaguar Falls, you see it. you just never know when you're going to see it here, and Bustdown utilizing it, and Emmerfish actually doing a good job of stabilizing here with the rest of his squad on the high ground.
Yeah, I mean, he had kill number 1, which allowed Bustdown to get on to the point, and then he had a good evil mojo onto Fanatics just now to stall things out, and that's allowed them to hold until overtime starts. Welsh Mania, notably on the sky, has had a good game up to this point. Ooh, through time and space, just wide right now. 2 kills in favor of Cyclone, 0, make it 3. 0 in favor of Bustdown. An interesting Inara wall. Stops her from moving too far forward. Blocks off a little bit of damage. The kills are coming through here for Welsh. This one could go in if he's able to trade out. Doesn't even need to. Slapidopoulos finds the last kill of this round. And Cyclone go up 2-0.
And look how, I mean, just it was so difficult even to track that bear. It just shows again that how the value of that Rocket Boots style. But Fanatics does a good job here on the con rotating. Playing this cubby has been more and more commonplace for a lot of front lines. We see it in console quite often. It's just such a niche angle to be able to fill if you want to go and pressure out him, especially when he's got shield and he's got his battle shout. But just really positioning himself in the same way a DPS might, using really the value of con and Storm of Bullets to impact them from a damage perspective and stepping into the frontline role when needed.
And Wildcard and Emmerfish, the only two who have really found some footing in this one. Whitey's had a bit of a tough start here. Of course, Slapidopoulos at 6-2 has started to take this one over. And great healing, of course, from Kings here on the Saris, I should say, 50k higher. But that's maybe to be expected. Genos is not so much a splash healer in the way that Saris is. But in the fight for the high ground, as we're seeing here, that could be big. Good seismic crash. Oh, it actually doesn't catch up any of them, which surprises me.
I know.
I thought it looked pretty good. The angle is just a little bit off. The evil mojo as well goes a little bit wide, so 1 for 1. But that is a good overpower. Slapidopoulos cleans up the kill, and then, good convergence. Set it up into the crossfire. And now Cyclone, they control the point. They already did anyway. But that almost seals it.
Just a little bit of a better point fight strategy for Cyclone. They've got Inara on the point, which constantly just drives pressure for them to do something about it. And Khan holding this left side until he has the overpower. He gets one. That's an easy kill. Now they're man advantage. They have the point as well, and they're free to push on. It's just a convergence to kind of clean it up. But they didn't really even need it with the crossfire coming out from Tyra. Good stuff, and they'll take a 3-0.
Does feel that way because it is that way, but it definitely does it justice. I think the scoreline does here, and there's 4 streaks burning away now for Cyclone, and we saw them hold until overtime last time Bustdown did. Emmerfish with a kill onto Fanatics as well. Is he able to escape? He just is. Slapidopoulos very, very close to death there, though.
Yeah, almost killed himself with the firebomb, unfortunately.
Yeah, people often forget that.
Yeah.
It burns you
it
as
burns
well as
Tyra. Yeah. It won't burn your teammates, but it'll burn Tyra.
She is not the mother of dragons.
And it'll burn enemies, exactly. She's not the Night King, so to speak, just fire coming down and saying what up after that. She will die if she stands in it. But hey, she's scantily clad at times. I mean, really, that coat can't do much for her defense. I mean,
just dressed like a wild boy.
It looks good, yeah.
It does.
In fact, we might be discovering that Tyra has a little bit of a
northerner.
Well, a little northerner in her, huh? Maybe a Toronto Raptors fan as well.
Could be. Hope not after last night, dude. Tough, dude. Tough, dude. Cyclone, though, they're up 3-0 here. Bustdown have the ultimates to hold this defense here.
Is that an audible sign?
That was it.
Is
that was
Joe,
a Joe sign in our ears.
A Toronto Raptors fan or a Golden State hater? I kind of got to figure that out.
One of the two. Slapidopoulos, though. And with the 4 ultimates, almost 5 for Bustdown, you would hope that they would be able to hold this one because they need to. But an early kill onto Yui starts things off very well now for Cyclone. Good void grip, but there's no damage to follow up. Whitey's getting aggressive right now, but he's not able to clean up the kill just before. Slapidopoulos getting some healing in as well. Things starting to stabilize. 5 ultimates for Bustdown. 4 ultimates make it 3 now with the time bomb coming out. Just get some damage onto some deployables there. Yui needs to stay alive. The crossfire, though, from Slapidopoulos. It's found value all this game, and it's found a little bit of value here this time as well. 1-for-1 trade to start things off. Dancing around in the back line is Wildcard, who finds one with the Enlightenment, and it looks like Cyclone have to back off.
They do. I mean, Welsh tried to go for it, but the Enlightenment was up. He gets a kill for it as well, stays at 54%. She's going to try to touch. I don't think she'll be able to get there.
Oh, she does.
Will, just barely. So this is actually precarious. Big convergence as well into the seismic crash.
Appreciate the patience, guys. Thanks for sticking around Evan tripped and spilled water on the router, so
happens, Dave. It happens.
That's the way of the road. That's the way of the road. Sometimes we are going to get back into game here in just a minute, as if nothing ended up going wrong. And the last we saw, Cyclone was up 2-0.
Yeah.
The overpower was right up in the air, and it looks like a kill did end up coming out of it. Yeah, he's just hanging around in the cubby here. Sputney as well finds a kill. Oh no!
Man, that was just so.
The thought was there.
Oh, man. Wow. I don't know. There was a lot to unpack there, and I'm not going to try to do it, but Cyclone win.
There you go. That's what you need to unpack. Cyclone find the win fresh off of Evan's blunder. Cyclone find victory, number 2 here in this set. Pretty convincingly. There was a defensive stand, but that was very much, I would say, in Cyclone's favor. They were controlling it from start to finish.
Yeah. My big thought, Dave, to wrap that up, is that what really was looking like it was happening is an unsolvable equation. Like, wait, there's a kill. We need to kill him, but it's 987, 88, 89. Wait, you're losing the point. Well, what do we do? I mean, at that point, by the time he died, I mean, game was over. I don't think he could have killed him and even touched the point.
Yeah.
So, unfortunate.
I think at the end of the day, it was all going in their favor. But very convincing here from Cyclone, of course, with the way match 1 went. Match 2 convincingly in favor of Cyclone in this one. Top damage in the game. Who else but Slop-Adopoulos in this one? Welshmania having some good damage as well on the Sky. Wildcard, though. No, top damage in the game went over to Wildcard, excuse me. So a good answer back from the Leon there. But the 1-2 punch of Slop and Welsh, I think, was just a little too much for Bustdown.
Yeah, and we see the hit scan champs and you know, really just rising above the rest. Probably a lot to do with the players, but you know, you look at the 12, the 6, the 6. Those are all those hit scan champs. Welsh staying close as well with the Sky. Wasn't as impactful as we've seen some of it, but he did his role, which is being a distraction, capitalizing off pressure already made.
Of course, I'm going to jump into some Slop replays here in a moment, and the big one was, I think, this crossfire to start off the game. Beautiful, and it's not like he's last hitting. He is melting all of those health bars almost entirely on his own here. Whitey is going to be the recipient of this last kill. That one was a little bit more of a team effort.
Right.
But what you see there is 3 Slop-Adopoulos in the kill.
Slop-Adopoulos getting slippity slopped on. And what I like about the way he used that crossfire, it's a nice little tech.
Yeah.
He saves his hunter's mark for the target he's actively going on, and it really just creates this level of burst that they're not anticipating before it happens. You know, when a lot of times you'll find your target and you'll say, I want the Eevee to be hunter's marked, and you'll throw it on her at the start of a fight, and she's blinking in, blinking out, knowing she's susceptible to that bonus damage. If the second you're crossfiring, those bullets start hitting, and then the hunter's mark, they don't have time to move or react.
Right.
But you just had time to do a double pump fist, Bruins baby, because of Frog Isle, your favorite map.
Bruins, baby. 7-2, 2 wins here in the Cup.
Can't do that in Paladins, unfortunately.
You can't. I think the equivalent would be like a 4-1, though.
How about 3 games in a row and a 4-2 to win this game? I guess that would be 7 positive things in total.
Yeah, you know what? You're right. Giving that to you in your favor, of course. Frog Isle. Map number 3. We've seen, yes and no, some snipers on this map, not only in the console league, but across the board. We've seen actually some teams electing to just forego the sniper entirely in order for maybe a more divey composition, just to make the enemy team sniper a little bit more uncomfortable. Talus Genos getting banned out here alongside Khan.
Yeah.
So Torvald not banned out just as of yet. Cyclone are going to see to it that he gets banned out one more time, though. So Genos is gone here. Vivian then becomes the first pick here for Bustdown.
It's a good ban phase. It opens up enough. Cyclone really happy to work with the Tyra and the Atlas, but this time there's no need for that Tyra when the Victor's available. They're going to combat against the Vivian. Victor, I think that extra little bit of question mark. Cardio seems to be the favored now with that buff, but I'm not sure if he'll stick with it on a map like this. It could be very impactful, but he's playing around lines of sight where he's not getting really in the fight until he's fully in it.
So he's fully in the fight, of course.
Yeah.
Atlas going back the way of Bustdown here, and I really like Atlas on this map. And
it's interesting.
We've seen sort of the differentiating talents, whether it's the AoE setback or the
temporal
giant
divide,
right. And Frog Isle, honestly, in my eyes, especially for the mid fight, maybe lends itself a little better to the giant wall. But as well, there's some interesting, environmental points on the map that could be really good for an AoE setback, so we'll have to see which way they decide to go. Of course, notably Makoa not banned out, or Barrack, which allows them to move through here. No snipers just yet. Vivian, Victor, those are direct damage dealers. May stay more of the same here. But Cyclone, they'll have that sneaky 5th pick to maybe flex into something here.
I like the way the aggressive tanks have been kind of split off here, and I think they were, interestingly enough, sacrificing their choice for the Ceres. The Grok is going to come out, and so they're going to go for a triple tank with kind of protect the president style. We've seen this before, and it's something that has been very, very successful. However, they've got a lot of tools to deal with it. I mean, a really balanced lineup, really good stabilization, great DPS champs, and a good healer. Bustdown will have to keep the pace pretty high, I think.
Can I say this? When Grok got picked, I was looking at you, and I heard the little snarl, and I thought for a moment that you had
I actually snarled?
Yeah, I was very confused there for a moment.
I can snarl at times, but I didn't do it for that.
You did not do that one.
No.
Thank God. Cyclone 1 win away here in set number 2 from taking it over Bustdown. And I mean, I expected maybe 1 win going the way of the left side of your screen there, but it hasn't happened up to this point. They're having an interesting composition come to play in this one. Triple frontliners protected, of course.
Protect the president,
by Grok and a Vivian. In this one, they'll really be controlling that point area. On the opposite side, though, you got some high burst potential. Fanatics, notably in this one, flexing onto the Bomb King, whereas he was the Khan in our last game with him. Slapidopoulos, of course, on the Victor. But King's going the Barrack route instead of the Bomb King route.
Yeah, and I think that's the interesting thing. We're going to see burst mode from Victor, I'm pretty sure. It seems to be damage is more important, and that's going to be the case here. See, Emmerfish really getting aggressive because he has that second chance, so he's going to be able to rewind if they put pressure, but a really good temporal divide to kind of force it early, and he doesn't get it in time. That's a problem. Wildcard about to go down. That's the dream if you are CycloneGG. So this fight is working out very, very nicely in your favor. They say, you want to aggress? We're just going to back off and let you kind of put yourself in a trap.
Well, Slapidopoulos is going to see to it that Bustdown don't get to play right now. He says, do not pass go, do not collect $200, go back to base while we capture the point here. And they're just going to elect to push 4 members forward here for Cyclone while 1 hangs back and just melts away on the point. Of course, that's going to be Welsh Mania healing things up. I think they're just flexing onto different champions right now. Just to try to seal this one up. Welsh, I would not have expected to be on the healer this time around. The barrage comes through, a little bit of chunk damage. Pair that with a double kill now from Fanatics on the Bomb King of all champions. And payload moving forward here for Cyclone.
Oh, great shield as well. I mean, that saves Fanatics. Slapidopoulos going to find Dreams as they start looking the other direction. He's just going to hit fire here because that's enough damage. Gets the spray, wasting time. Valuable DPS could have been gathered. And he's going to gather with a few headshots and say, you know what, I'll make it up. I'll make it up. Just give me a second. I'll do just fine. 2 minutes now. Cyclone tackling this triple tank like an NFL linebacker.
They're looking like they want to put this one to bed early and often. 53% already. I mean, the barrage didn't get as much value as he was maybe hoping, Slapidopoulos. But when you get it back as quickly as he does with the amount of damage that he's doing, you'll be fine just to throw those out. Good stun. Oh, but the damage isn't quite there. The Tempest comes out. This could be a go button now for Bustdown, but unfortunately he's just flying up. He's going to come down in the middle of the Cyclone lineup. The hook sees to it that he's not able to do very much there. Oh, Dream's actually able. Dream, she falls down over the edge just to buy some time there for herself, but Fnatic sees to it that she gets cleaned up here. The hooks have been so good now from Smutny. Well played by him so far in this Makoa.
And there's so many different versions of Makoa that are valuable, and pretty much everyone is game-changing. A lot of what we're seeing as we see a little bit of Yui kind of maybe giving up there, just saying there's not much I could do against this. I think the big key is that it throws off what you want to do. These great players are trying to min-max, and when you shut that down or you throw a wrench in their plan, it could go heavily, heavily wrong because they're trying to play with every single resource they have, and that requires high execution. Makoa, he kind of literally throws a wrench in that plan, maybe more of an anchor than a wrench itself. But he's banned for a reason, guys.
Yep. Slapidopoulos 10-0-4 in round number 1 here. We'll have to get a look at the slash lines. I might have only seen a kill or 2 from Bustdown that entire time. Those are actually not a bad Tempest. Unfortunately, the follow-up for Dreams was not there, and just falls down right in the middle of Cyclone. able to juke out. Just buy some time, though.
The thing I want to comment on, Dave, that you said is it's not a bad Tempest. It's not, but what they're doing is even better. CycloneGG are saying, oh, good offense. And a lot of times you say good defense, better offense. But right here they're saying good offense, better defense. They're just backing up. They're giving that space. They're ceding it away. It's almost like a feint, like, oh, no, you got us, you got us, you got us. Wait, now you've overcommitted, and we'll just take you down, especially your healer who's jumped into our backline.
And there were kills for Bustdown, 3 of them to be exact.
Ping bom.
Ooh, this could be big. There's a lot of grouped up targets right here. It's going to be Yui who catches that one on the chin. Thanatix cleans it up for himself there. So good King Bomb, good damage. Whitey able to get one on his way out. Double even able to stay alive through that one. The exiles here from Emmerfish are good, but the capturing still continues despite being exiled out. Welsh Mania on the healer this time around. Is going to clean up that one onto Atlas. 60% here, but the zone is not as deep as we saw last time.
A little bit of a miscalculation. I think you need to save your exiles, put it on Slop, and then just try to take Welsh Mania into the shadow travel. He had a lot of damage. He would have won that trade. The issue is Welsh now use the shadow travel to get out there, sets up a convergence, which is just more of a zoning tool, but Whitey's in trouble. Yeah,
Whitey's going to be the big one that needs to stay alive right now. Even return some damage. Down comes the Assert Dominance. Good for a stun, but the health bar is low. He gets knocked out of that. I think a Poppy Bomb is what launched him out of his ultimate range right there. He's able to dance back into it. Cyclone are okay. I mean, they have 0% on the side of Bustdown, so they'll back off, regroup a little bit here. Good answer back from Bustdown. Health bars are still low, though, but you don't really have a lot of damage to capitalize on that. The Exile's up yet again. It's a very fast-charging ult there from Atlas this time around.
Seriously.
Maybe he didn't use all of his shots last time, so he preserved a little bit of that. Either way, already back up again to 50% here.
I think he's just been doing a ton of damage in this fight. I mean, I think that's really what it is. He also probably has morale boost at this point. If it's charging this quickly, item-wise, he probably has picked that up. And he does not, so he just has Cauterize 1. It's a weird one, but yeah, he is charging very, very quickly. I think this is just a matter of too eager for Cyclone to close out the set, close out the game.
Yeah.
They should have just backed off completely here, Dave, and what they've done is they've made it this, like, brawl for so long. It was very risky. They end up coming out on top of it, though.
They do, and they stabilize it. They were able to get in. The healing was actually really good from Welsh Mania, flexing onto the healer this time around. Allowed their team to stay in it just a little bit longer. So well played there by them. A little bit of a setback onto Slop, but now pushing for the win on the day. And the final win before MSI here is Cyclone. Good hook there from Smutny. Locks up Whitey in this one. The Tempest again comes through, but again, not too much follow-up other than Yui. The Inara comes through with Dreams this time around. They do answer back with some kills, though. 2 minutes left. Cyclone will be okay. Maybe just to stagger this out on their own and regroup.
Yeah, I mean, it's just such a rough comp to play into because the Makoa and the Barrack both have really huge, really wide area blocking, denying shields that shut down any shock pulse bouncing from the Grok. Grok obviously playing main healer, so it's not exactly his full game plan, but it is a bad combo. Inara is really the best point tank aside from Ruckus that you want to play against if you are a Grok, and she's on their team. So Bustdown looking to be a little tricky here. Convergence into the barrage, one of the best combos in the game, 365. He makes it out just barely, but he is low, 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 and Wildcard goes down.
Oh my, that could end it right here. The shoulder bash from Smutny was just enough, or excuse me, from Whitey was just enough to get him out alive there. But beautiful combination. Oh no, I was hoping it would happen. And it does here in this case. Unfortunately, Dreams catches a hook right next to base. But amazing convergence, great follow-up there from the barrage. The payload's moving forward. The zone is good. Ancient Rage is ready for Smutny. He could pop that, zone out 3 members of Bustdown here. It's looking like Cyclone are poised to take this one 4-0.
Oh, yeah. And you know, Makoa, when he gets mad, you don't want to see him mad. He's got that Ancient Rage. He says, get back here. There is no way. Cancels it out. Smutny, a veteran, one of the only guys who's been doing stuff like that on PC before he even went to console. So he knows all the hook angles, and he angles it right. That's a big win for them.
Big win here for Cyclone. We only got to see 2 games, but it is still a 3-0 in favor of them. So our last look at Cyclone in the PCL going into MSI, looking clean, bringing out some compositions. Honestly, notably, I mean, maybe not anything to really look into, but some of their players flexing onto different champions. Welsh Mania doing a little healing, King's doing a little front lining. just probably a good feel-good win for Cyclone moving in.
It's a good look, man. It's a good look. I like this team. I like the way that they're going into it. Seem like they've got some creativity going on with some of their compositions, and they're willing to tackle different looks that other teams are throwing at them, especially teams who have won quite a bit. You know, Bustdown, no slouch here. They've won, what was it, 8 games or something like that throughout this split. So, you know, they've definitely had their fair share of victories. They're good players. It just didn't work out today.
And this is definitely it has been, I would say, a closer region than maybe Flashpoint's or Elevate's region are, in that Bustdown, while Cyclone has won most of the matchups, I mean, they've been a little bit closer. They've been a little bit more contended, but Cyclone, Slopodopolis takes this one away, 17-2-14. Across the board, Cyclone just playing lights out here in this one.
Yeah, a little risky. Just to comment on Bustdown as well, draft-wise, I think they did a decent job, but they obviously didn't get their primary healer they would have liked for a comp like this. And they also just didn't ban enough front lines to really put the deficit if they took 3. Barrick and Makoa are 2 of the best front lines, probably the best combo you could have in the game right now, since Makoa's always banned, and Barrick's top stabilization tank. You have to make it so that, oh, we've only got a Makoa. Oh, we've only got a Barrick. Oh, we've only got this. Playing against 2, that's not really how the triple front line functions in Paladins. So
it's as much about
creative, but didn't work out.
It's as much about giving yourself beautiful. You get to see it from that angle this time around.
Resources. Right,
resources.
There's only 4, we've got 3, and now you're at a bad advantage.
Absolutely. Cyclone takes a 12-0 split to MSI, so congrats to them. You said it, 8-4 for Bustdown, 4-8 for Radiant. Unfortunately, the goose egg down there for Viral in this one. But yeah, Cyclone's the team that's going to be headed to MSI on this one.
They went viral just in the wrong column, unfortunately.
Yeah, very true. Very, very well pointed out. And they're a team that, again, very similarly to Elevate, who hasn't lost any maps. Flashpoint hasn't. Well, they lost 2. I keep harping on that because I just find it so funny. Flashpoint have lost 2, but again, Cyclone, they haven't lost any games. They've barely lost any maps this entire time, so hats off to them. We are going to take a quick break, swap some of us out yet again, but when we come back, we're going to NA.